Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Nobody's Law. So I wanted to do a season 2 review of Riverdale. And I just wanted to start out by saying that I didn't even want to watch Riverdale when it first came out. I thought it looked stupid. And then when it came on Netflix, I was like, all right. And I just kind of started it. And then it started playing, and then the next episode started playing, and then the next episode started playing, and I was blown away. It was awesome. I was so drawn to it, like the second it started, and I was really glad that I actually gave it a chance because it was really good season. And now we have season 2. This season wasn't as good as last season, but it was still pretty good. The story felt a little bit forced here and there, but overall it was good. It had a very solid foundation. So this season picks up right where season 1 left off. Archie's dad has been shot. Suddenly the whole town sent into another frenzy as a new threat, the Black Hood, terrorizes their quaint little town. There's a dark conspiracy concerning the lodges, Kevin puts on a dope-ass play, the school has a class president election, and of course, way too much teenage sex. And none are more affected by it than Archie Andrews himself. As easily manipulated as he is, he allows Veronica to ensnare him into Hiram Lodge's world, one of betrayal and violence. He begins to truly believe, as Veronica entices him, that Mr. Lodge is truly the champion that Riverdale needs to put things in order, to prevent things like the Black Hood from happening. And this continues to the point where he is willingly makes a blood pact with Mr. Lodge, the devil of the story. Archie has sold his soul. Being herself, Betty is immediately thrown into this new mystery. The Black Hood targets her specifically. He seems to believe they share a special bond, and as the season goes on, she begins to see that this is true. They do share a bond, but not the one that he believes or he wants. She launches an intense and seemingly never-ending search for the answers to her darkest questions, even taking it upon herself to search for her brother, and finds instead the man that killed him. In this case, she gives into her own darkness and begins to see the truth from there. Father locked up, Jughead takes on a leader role within the Serpents, but he's naive, so he makes a lot of wrong deals with a lot of the wrong people. Anything to get his dad out of prison. But his misguided notions lead him to enact a vigilant white knight complex, in which he truly believes that he is still pure enough to take out the evil that entrenched itself in his hometown, alone if he has to, and he begins to target Hiram Lodge specifically. Veronica, my least favorite, the whore of Babylon, allows her father, the man who threatened both herself and her mother on numerous occasions, back into her life, and begins even to embrace his evil ways. She gives into the dark side of his work and begins to aid him eagerly. As she begins dealing with many of his business associates, one of whom attempts to rape her twice, and then another attempts to kill both herself and her mother. Finally, after the whole fucking season, she begins to realize that her father is in fact evil, and she begins, finally, to use her cunning against the bastard. Cheryl Blossom endures the tribulations of lost innocence. Her mother and uncle turn against her in a conspiracy to murder both herself and her grandmother. Her sexuality is finally revealed, giving us a little more insight to her mother's unflinching hatred towards her perfectly fine child. In this, she goes into a distraught sense of being, going so far as to stalk Josie, and then convincing her that it was somebody else entirely. Thankfully, later on she finally levels out and finds herself a pretty decent partner in one of the new Serpents. Kevin Keller is forced to watch his father fall into a depression brought on by his own inability to capture the madmen running around murdering the people that he's supposed to protect. even farther, he goes into having an affair with the mayor. Then we get to see how deeply stigmatized Kevin's own sexuality is in this society, forcing him to go to the woods at night to find comfort in the arms of those like him. And not only is this dangerous, but it is incredibly stupid. He's willing to risk himself, his feelings, his emotions, his own body for a fleeting moment. And not that he shouldn't get to have a sexual relationship with somebody that he cares about, but he's doing it in such a stupid way. Bringing Betty to come at him, confront him, and forcing her to force his father to confront him, which actually brings about a pretty touching moment. There are many other characters that have their own arcs interwoven throughout this season, but I don't have the time to go into depth with all of them, only the main four and my own two personal favorites. As the finale comes upon us, we see many different things happening all at once. Archie finally confronts Mr. Lodge, realizing that the devil fooled him. He tells him that he's going to use everything he has to come after the man and take him down. We can see that Hiram is pretty clearly scared. Betty confronts the truth about the Blackhead, her father. His bloodline is stained with murder, going all the way back to his great-grandfather, who murdered his own brother. Betty and her mother Alice team up to take down Hal and have him arrested. Jughead gives himself over willingly to Mr. Lodge, trading his own life for the lives of the other serpents. Mr. Lodge has a rival gang, and a former serpent beat Jughead to death. Fortunately for us, he lives. Unfortunately for him, Lodge didn't keep his end of the deal, and when Jughead awakens, the serpents are all practically dust. Our last scene is Archie being sworn in as class president, but the affair is put on hold when the police walk in, come to arrest Archie for murder, and there, in the corner, is Mr. Lodge, smiling, as if he'd won. Overall, this season had a pretty decent story with good character development. I felt like the story had a little too much focus on the Lodge family and their mob-esque life, not giving room enough for other stories to develop. This show has definitely lost a little bit of its shimmer. I'd give it probably a solid 7 out of 10, and I'm hoping next season brings it back up to a 9 or a 10. Anyway, that's all for today. Once again, I am Nobody's Law, and you guys have a great day.